Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and this is day 13. We had our third tools working group where we were talking through getting a research assistant in place, and I'm really wanting to see us get a foundation in place as far as where we can really template this. And here we're on our office hours. This is our 11th office hours. We are now day 13 of a 180-day live stream challenge. And on the screen here is the Google Docs, and wherever you came in, that should be linked there. And just so that you know, the Google Docs is pretty tab heavy. I'm going to collapse some of these tabs here, and it might be a little difficult to navigate on mobile, but we're here on a desktop journeying through our office hours. So, one of the things that always going to talk about is our fun, earning, learning, and giving culture. But really, like as you can see here, I didn't spend a lot of time on the agenda, but that's really more for the office hours because we're really wanting this to be kind of feedback and discovery and kind of figuring out what we're needing to do. So, anyway, I'm going to stop talking and let Tyler, Ernest, or I am Lotus chime in some thoughts as far as some questions that you have as far as what we need to do to get our community launched and work towards creating some AI agents or some mechanical cupcakes or whatever. And I see Ernest is rocking out. And I'm gonna stop the screen share so that you can see a mechanical cupcake that they updated here on their Zoom profile. But I'm gonna go ahead and go on mute here. And if you all want to chime in some thoughts, feel free to now.
Oh no, I'm just wanting to get some content created, and I just need to know what kind of schedule you want for content. Because I just built three agents. So basically, my initial test agents were prefixed with like me, because I was using me fun and testing the ELIZA stuff. Now that I got a little bit better idea of the personalities that I want in the agents that are doing work for me. And I got better agent descriptions. Um, Basically building the agents out in Chat GPT, prefixing them with, the word test and then kind of their function. And then these will all be, well, except for my researcher. I like my researcher links avatar, but basically this evolution of agents that I develop over the next couple weeks are going to be cupcakes. Um, but I got trying to test out a video scraper so that I can infer information from YouTube. I got a pretty nice little reach searcher, and I mean, I haven't done much testing, but I'm already getting better results out of my social media guru than I am based on what I can produce myself.
Yeah, so why don't you share with us real quick as far as some of the stuff that you're seeing as far as from an engagement, because you're actually letting your Eliza agent post on your branded personal branding social media, if I understand things correctly.
Yeah, so I'll share my screen. I'm doing two things, right? I'm building agents out in Chat GPT. I got the business version so that I can get access to a workspace and for bringing in plugins that are in beta, like the Luma plugin. And then I have my small tasks done by these agents, and then I go, wow, it's always up here. I go to Quest Flow, go in my way. I'll go to Quest Flow, and then I use the source material created by my Chat GPT agents, and then I bring that into Quest Flow, and then
Real
I
quick,
use their
can you,
network.
Ernest, can you share what Questflow is just to provide a little context for everybody else?
Yeah, it gives you access to an agent network, and I can actually have tasks done. I can have I can get workflows completed that because the workflows currently that I'm hooked up to are workflows that I'm using Notion for. I'm having problems figuring out how to authorize the the network to use my Google Docs, but I built a separate Google Doc account so that I'm not giving access to my personal Google account. Um, but essentially, I was able to take the plain text first draft that I'm using for social media. I bring it into here. I say I want this blog post created and published to my Notion so that I can then pass that on to somebody else who's going to approve the final edits and publish. And with Twitter, I was like, okay, now create me a tweet and post it to my Twitter. And then it basically creates the tweet, asks me if that's okay, and then it confirms that I want to publish it, and then it publishes to my Twitter. And yep, that's kind of my current iteration as far as what tools are available. And I can bring the work my individual agents are doing that I'm designing that has the personal history of the conversation with me. I can bring those and then get work done by the swarms of agents that people are developing to integrate with exchanges, to integrate with Twitter, to create not just blog posts, but then to create additional content from the blog posts. Um, I can, the edu agency that I've created, I can, um, you know, generate some posts that collect people's emails, and then I can have an email kind of follow up workflow for enticing people to that if they want training in these things, give you your email and come into the community, buy an NFT, whatever you want to do. But you can see it
Well, and this might
as
be a good
Telegram.
segue, Ernest, to talk about our workflow automation because I remember that that's one of the things that we didn't get scheduled earlier. And I'm going to throw a link here on the Zoom. Um, and let's see here, share chat. Here's a link to let us meet. And it's looking like Wednesday at 1. Let me actually take over the screen share here for the Let Us Meet that I'm looking at. And this is one of the things too that I'm wanting to get done here on the office hours. I'm pretty sure that I signed up earlier with the so like one of the things with Let Us Meet, this will actually maybe be the last Let Us Meet that you use. We're going to begin using Meet with Wallet. But let me go ahead and make note here. We're going to get this scheduled. Let me go ahead and edit this. So let's edit this, just the title real quick. And this is one of the things that's kind of not desirable that I'm hoping has better workflow with Let Us Meet or with Meet With. And I was wanting to get and I was looking over here at my personal calendar. Let's see. I think I'm going to grab this earlier time slot here, the 12 to 1 Mountain Standard Time. And one of the things that I'm going to start doing just to make it easier for our global friends, instead of using Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to use Eastern Time. So this is going to be Wednesday, 12 Mountain is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on, and let's see, let's Wednesday, January 22nd. And this should be a good one. And I'll tell you why here in a second. 22nd, January 2025. Save. Okay. And I'll get the Luma event and I'm going to take that as an action item here. So let's see. Ernest discussing quest flow dot AI and scheduling next tools working group. And I believe that's the fourth tools working group. Let's see. Yes, for workflow automation. And this is one of the things that we're wanting to create the AI agents to facilitate for us, but having some of the tools that we want to use, laying a solid foundation here. And that's going to be, let's see, workflow automation, 2 p.m. EST on Wednesday, 22nd, January 2025. All right, cool. And then going to be using, like I said, Meet With. I'm not going to go through that right now because it's already, but Meet With Wallet just recently rebranded to Meet With XYZ. And let me open up this in an incognito window because I think I'm already logged in because there is a promo here. And this is being incubated by our friends over at RNDAO. And you can see get 6 months, and it looks like that there's a limited amount of claims. So I would encourage everybody here that's on the call to go ahead and grab that. And this is something, like I said, we will be using for our next tools working group. And that over here, let me go to our content tab because that's where we're breaking down the content. So over here, this is a high level thing. So we just talked about the tools working group, and I'm going to add and one of the reasons, let me actually go on this tangent real quick here before we move on. But one of the persons that's going to be coming to this is the co-founder of IZE.space. I don't know how that's pronounced, but met them. They were on the and I believe that's Ty. Let's see what put on there. Ty Solberg is the co-founder of IZE.space. They were on the HATS protocol community call. And I think that that's probably maybe a good segue. Before I do that, gonna talk. This is the next Meet with Wallet gonna create is for the Gitcoin Passport. One of the reasons that we're prioritizing Gitcoin Passport is that for AI agents box where we're creating an NFT member dynamic, $7 for 1 year. We're going to have that since that's such a low dollar amount. We're going to use the Gitcoin passport for that. Going to follow a similar dynamic. And going back to our calendar over here at AIagents.box, going to iLocal FYI. This is an upcoming opportunity. iLocal FYI is our ecosystem sister organization here that's also going to be a public good. And that will be a lot more apparent what that means here as time unfolds in 2025. So I'm going to get the event link for this and throw it in the live stream and in the Zoom. Because if you haven't RSVP'd for that, take that now while you're thinking about it. And here's that. So. And this is one that's going to be really fun. Again, positioning iLocal as a global movement for fostering local community and cooperative ownership using on-chain technology. And that's another use case that don't even have in the team section right now that we'll put on the roadmap for building out is a investment club AI agent and a fund management AI agent. But that's going to be a future roadmap, probably for the second half of 2025. Our main focus is going to be creating an MVP for my IRA.fund. But anyway, HATS protocol. I wanted to bring this up because I feel that HATS protocol is a good way to visualize some of the roles because HATS protocol is as a tool for visualizing organizational roles. And as I've said, wanting to create Yonk's Team AI Agency as a model for our on-chain ambassadors. And that's who's going to be doing the primary marketing behind the scenes. So having us have AI agents that really supports our main affiliates to grow our ecosystem is kind of where the thought process is on that. So let me go here real quick to, and this is one of the best practices things that I do. And you can see that I've got a lot of different projects, but we're going to talk about, going to bring open the AI agents.box and going to go over here to the HATS protocol tree. And one of the things that we've talked a little bit about is funding. But I'm going to go ahead and edit this tree, and we're going to add a hat here. Oh, I don't know if I want to do this one. Let's cancel that. Confirm. And I've got some pretty cool workflow here. I'm going to just change this instead of calling this funding teams. I need to connect my wallet first. Let me do that. Let me grab my password here real quick. AI agents box.eth. This is one of the reasons that I love dual monitor. It makes this sort of dynamic a lot easier because I just grab that on my other screen over there. So we're going to edit this real quick, and we're going to just call this teams instead of funding teams. Let's see, where's that hat here? Pat name, funding teams, save. And we're going to create over here, I'm wanting a templates. So we're going to call this templates. Save. And let's add a template for let's call this AI agency. And we're going to call it a template again. Template AI agency on-chain ambassador.org. We can use this template for our on-chain ambassadors. And thinking about like one of the things, oh, I hope I didn't lose my changes there. Okay, templates. This is the only one that I had here. It was template. Was it in my history on my chat? And this is one of the things that I think that we'll be able to automate like through uh if we end up using this. I don't know if we'll end up using this, but just having a nice tool for visualizing things, and there might be a better tool that's more functional. And like one of the tools that you talked about was vector shift, Ernest, and a lot of that will just depend on what we're wanting to do. But when we're thinking about roles, that's a key component in how that we're going to be building our AI agents as far as programming them to do various things. Um, so let's see, this was I don't know if I have any of this history in here. Uh, this may be used for our, let's see, AI agency for our on-chain ambassadors. And this can all be updated later. This is not immutable. This is mutable, so we can change this. So save and go back over here. And that might be a little bit of a long name. I don't know if template. Let me actually just take the template out of this. I think that makes it a little long. Like, because this is all under the templates hat anyway. And the cool thing about this is like we can add custom images to add a little bit more visual appeal and stuff like that. But like the thoughts here, with having the story with Eliza, I think it probably makes more sense to have the main, like one of the things that I'm wanting to do with the Yonks Team AI agency. And I'll probably, just to keep it more simple at first, just work on a digital twin for myself. And then if we want to add more complexity later, after we really get the knack of this, might help Tyler create one for herself as well. But and whether we lean into a characterization with whatever that may be, But that's where one of the things, like if we're thinking about creating a service or an offering for an individual, allowing them to bring their own personality to that conversation is probably, I think, makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy this. This is something, actually, let me add one more hat down here. Let's call this the Eliza, Eliza OS plus story. I'm going to put in here IP, save,
So
deploy.
the main thing with creating a personal twin is a lot of your content is on social media platforms, and it'd be nice to start with non-social media platform information to start building a knowledge base for your twin.
And what's your recommendation for that, Ernest?
I mean, they read Google Docs real easy, so I'm just
Okay.
saying, like you can scrape a publicly viewable Google Doc, or if you got Wiki, um, if you got, you'll want things like maybe a resume or multiple, all the resume drafts you have. Ultimately, if you've even needed one, I haven't needed to create a resume for the first time until like a year and a half ago. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I'm trying to figure out, and there's different workarounds for getting information out of social media apps. But by far, the easiest way to get information and to monitor it is to have the information either all in a database already, or to have, like a good set of links that has all the information that you want your twin to know about you.
Yeah, and that's something that I'll think about compiling. And this is one of the things too that just thinking about making it easier, but we can work on that later. Let's actually talk about like what we want the initial user journey. And one of the tools that I have talked about that want to really get good at using is Mermaid. And this is one of the super agents that I think that we should create within our ecosystem. And like one of the other things that I think should be a pretty high priority is creating a 3-win dev sub agency within from a design standpoint. And we talked a little bit about using Fleek.xyz. One of the things that I've gotten a little clarity about since just our conversation earlier today is that we really need to think about creating or plan to build a Docker image that somebody can easily deploy within the Fleek environment, and then just work on getting that process really refined, but having that container component that makes it easy to just program in, where we can do enterprise level, like whatever the case may be, and then just work through that container environment to make it easy to deploy. And whether it's Fleek or whether we choose to use another service for cloud hosting, I really like leaning into, because I think that they have a pretty cool framework with their Fleek network, but that's something that is probably a lower priority than some of these other things. But anyway, going back to the conversation as far as the user journey, um, let's talk about what we want that to look like for my IRA fund. Um, Discussing user journey. And I'm going to bring open here so that we are on the same page with what we want the phase 0 to look like. So phase 0 is our alpha phase, and this is where we're going to be creating a user journey, planning to use unlock protocol to represent via NFT ERC 721 proof of membership on chain on base. I'm thinking doing a deform, uh, but that's kind of my thoughts. And then as a part of that, then that would open up scheduling the one-on-one. This is more of probably uh, phase late phase zero before phase one. I'm going to move that down the list here. Create a deform.cc. I don't know if other people have used deform. That was something that we were playing around with and had workflow around Region Village. Um, oh, and it looks like that they rebranded to Megaphone. And that's interesting. So create deform over here, but yeah, that's probably they've been getting some traction and stuff like that with deform and so let's see, create deform now Megaphone. But this is something that I think that we can have in place here pretty quickly. Still have some other things on my IRA.fund to get in place. We were playing around a little bit with splits. I think that we can make that work for doing a phase zero for our founding on-chain ambassadors. And that's one of the things that we can work on getting in place. But here with the last 5 minutes, right now, we only have looking at the events scheduled. Oh, and real quick, I wanted to preface one of the things here. I've been talking about special agents in the past, and with this super agent hackathon coming up at ETH Denver, and with all of the on-chain expertise, one of the things just to simplify the narrative, going to lean into super agents. So that's one of the things that I updated here. And super agents is really the orchestration of multiple agents within your environment. And that's one of the things like that dev sub agency as agents is so the dev whatever we want to call that from a branding standpoint. But super agents is something that I think will make more sense to lean into. And I'm gonna add some compilations here of some good white papers that really talks about agentic AI frameworks. But that's one of the things that I really want us to be considering because that's where we can add a lot of value, like putting together a great Docker image that has a multi agents within it. I think again would add a lot of value for us as AI agents.box to have that. And then just also that's one of the things that we can use for simplifying our own deployment of these branded services and offerings that we're going to create. But anyway, let me pull up the calendar for the upcoming week here. This is the 3-win social
Well,
calendar. This is, go ahead, Ernest.
I was just gonna say, I think Juicebox is better because it gives you a front end and does the exact same thing and a little more
Then
than
what?
Splits.
We won't need a front end because this if we're going to use this, it'll all be happening programmatically anyway,
Yeah, right. But you're gonna
through
have
whatever we build.
somebody, yeah, but you're gonna have somebody buy an NFT, and then that split will go out, and so you're gonna need an NFT for them to front end for them to buy the NFT.
That's where deform can really come into play because this isn't going to happen like automatically. I by design we're orchestrating this like I don't even want somebody to be able to buy the NFT without talking to me or Tyler first. And there's multiple reasons for that that I'm not even going to unpack during a live stream. So the
Why would you
automation.
use? So just so you know, if you use Notion for your form, you can have the AI in Notion work for you, and you could also have agent swarms from QuestFlow interact with your Notion database created from your form.
Yeah, and that sounds like some more complicated workflow because one of the things that's going to happen in time is that we're going to be moving to three-win social because the goal isn't to use a third-party tool like Notion or Dform or Megaphone or whatever. The goal is to use three-win social on a site that we own with a WordPress backend until we get something else that we own, but we're wanting to build as much stuff as we own. And that's one of the big value propositions of how that we're going to be structuring from a design standpoint, like with our agents. People will actually own their own AI agency and not go through platforms like ChatGPT for interacting with LLMs. They'll use their own AI agency that they actually own. And for the people that want to self-host, like I mentioned DAP Node, I've got a DAP node piece of hardware sitting on the shelf that I'm planning to deploy. And this is another thing that we can create through our with our Docker image is for people that want to self-host their own AI agency. That can be another opportunity that we create, not for phase zero. We don't need this for phase zero, but for phase one, before we hit our phase two, where it's really streamlined because realistically, most people aren't going to want to self-host, but there are absolutely people, more privacy concerned people that want to self-host because then they actually have even more control over that than if it's hosted in a cloud environment. But looking at the calendar here for this next week, like right now, we don't have that much stuff on here. We've got the iLocal FYI. I will take a look and get some things on here. Talked about the putting this on here for what time did I say? Was it two Eastern? I can't even remember now. Let's uh, have it in this tab right here. Yeah, two Eastern. Let me put this on the calendar. I need to create for right here. AI agents. I'm going to put create uh, workflow automation. That's good enough of a remember. So, and then likely going to extend these events here, the 4 to 5. That's been working pretty well for some sort of office hours, probably my IRA.fund. And similarly over here, um, office hours. I think these time slots have been working well. So I'll take a look at the calendar, get these added and stuff like that. Anyway, we're already 1 minute past. I'm going to stop talking here, stop the screen share, and let anybody else chime in some thoughts. Always want to be respectful of everybody's time. And again, this is our 13th day of our 180-day sprint marathon for launching AI agents. But yeah, and feel free to chime in any closing thoughts before we bring this to a close. We'll be back similar time here throughout the week. I can't remember real quick. I'm going to look at the calendar for tomorrow because I don't know if I talked about tomorrow. Let's see. Don't have anything on the calendar. Let me look at my phone here real quick because I thinking of next week. I totally skipped over tomorrow. So yeah, let's do these same two time slots tomorrow, 4 Mountain, 6 Eastern, and then 9 Mountain, 11 Eastern, and I'll get that set up. My IRA.fun will be the first one, and then AIagents.box will be the second one. And continue to just move forward while we get an MVP dialed in, and we'll really do some rubber meets the road stuff to get an MVP dialed in for my IRA.fund here tomorrow. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking and let anybody else chime in some thoughts before we end the live stream. And I'll end the live stream here if I don't see any mic open up. And if we want to have a side conversation without the recorder of the live stream, we can do that here also. But yeah.
I do want to welcome Greg to the team. Hopefully, we can answer your questions.
Well, and that's still a little premature, but yes, loved having you hang out here tonight, and but yeah,